What's up, Blue Roof Nation, and welcome back to A Year in Comics. I'm your host, Jonathan, and today we are in the year 1941. Well, right off the bat, let's start with the most important thing, Riverdale. Now, it's Archie. Archie's first comic came out in 1941, so it gave us birth to Archie Andrews, which, of course, if you're a fan of the CW show Riverdale, this is your year. It's not the only character debuting this year, nor even the most important. That hands down has to go to Captain America. And the Red Skull, the same issue. Namor, the Submariner, got his own title this year. Stan the Man Lee wrote his first. It wasn't a comic book. It was a couple paragraph story called Captain America the Traitor in issue 3 of Captain America that Stan Lee wrote. And this is also the year that Stan Lee would go on to become the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics. So this is definitely a big year for Marvel. It gave us Stan Lee as editor-in-chief, which would go on to define what Marvel would become a couple decades down the line. It also saw the leaving of Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. And depending on where you stand on the whole Lee Kirby debate, and one of the there's a couple different biographies of Stan Lee. One of them says that Simon and Kirby were doing work for DC at the same time, or National, whatever DC was called at the time. I think it was National, and that Martin Goodman, the owner of Timely Comics, found out, and they were kind of forced out. I don't know if that's true, but that's the story I read. And that Kirby believes that Stan Lee ratted them out. Stan Lee denies it, so I don't know. It's all hearsay. But that was the year that they left Timely, and Stan Lee was the only one left there and became the editor-in-chief. And would usher in what we know as Marvel Comics. I mean, it would take him a while. He would leave to go to World War II for a little bit, but this was kind of the starting of all that. His first writing gig, him being promoted, all of it, right then and there. But also the other cool thing that happened this year happened over in DC, the DC world. So later this year, there's a movie coming out called Shazam, right? Well, that character is actually the first comic book character who was ever given a live action anything. He was the first comic book character to be immortalized on film. He was given a serial in 1941 called The Adventures of Captain Marvel. The serial, for you don't know, you would go to the movies, and before the actual movie would play, there would be a little, basically like a TV episode, a couple minutes long, playing in front of the movie, and you'd have to come back to the movies the next week to see the next part, and then come back in the movies the next week to see the next part. They did these with a lot of different things. But The Adventures of Captain Marvel was the first comic book one to get one. Other comic book ones that would get one would be Captain America, Batman, Superman, stuff like that. I think Tarzan would get one, Buck Rogers would get one, Flash Gordon would get one. But Shazam, back when he was still called Captain Marvel, before all the lawsuits and Marvel and DC bickering, he was still called Captain Marvel, and his serial was the first comic book thing made into film, and I think that's awesome. And to think about it, like 1941, and now it's 2019, and he's barely getting his first movie. He was the first one to get a serial. They liked him so much back then, they gave him a serial, but nothing since. I mean, he was in Young Justice, but I haven't really seen him in. I don't remember him being in Justice League. Did he have a show? He had a show. He did have a TV show. I've never seen it. But I think he did have a TV show. I gotta look that up. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was something in between the serial and this movie. Might have been a show in the 70s or 60s. I don't know. I gotta look that up. But yeah, 1941. Not a lot happened that year, but it was an important year. And it was also when Marvel started going to war with Timely at the time. Started going to war with the Nazis. They were doing a lot of Nazi stories, battling them. So it's pretty cool. But yes, this has been A Year in Comics. I'm Jonathan. You can check us out at blueroofproductions.com. Give us legends.